And I'm now being joined by Dr. Tajuddin Yusuf. He is a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Business Administration, University of Lagos. You're welcome, Dr. Tajuddin. Well,
Thank you very
before we go on to that discussion, let's see what business is like on the Lagos Island yesterday.
So this time that there's Salah, we expect that markets will, customers will come into the market to buy more of our wares, but the market has been very slow. That means that the economy, maybe people are not, the economy is not buoyant. Maybe it may be buoyant in the aspect of the GDP, but the buying capacity of the people is very poor. So we didn't get much of the customers coming in to buy this time. So
I discovered that due to the Salah, prices of things in the market have gone high. And if you look around, you discover that some shops were not opened. Maybe as a result of this, the few people that were in the market and the prices are a little bit beyond expectation.
I thank God. I don't even know that I will make any sales today because today is Salah day. But to the glory of God, God has showed me mercy today. I will sell more than I expected today.
Well, Dr. Tajuddin, you heard it well. Some people, they made sales. Some are, crying. Why is it like that? I mean,
well, it should be expected.
I know that during that Ramadan period, there was a kind of a lot of people complained of a slowdown, in sales, and we saw prices of some commodities, especially those that come from the north, going up.
Yeah. It should be expected. This will not be the first Ramadan we will have in this country. And if you look at it generally, the economy, the Nigerian economy has been recording what you would say not so much encouraging achievements in recent years. And I think if you experience downturn in certain aspects of the economy, you discover that other aspects of the economy will actually pick up. Take, for instance, in the food industry, beverages, they will definitely they will record high sales at this period, because during Ramadan, people tend to buy more. They tend to stock their warehouses with delicacies, and it is a moment of fellow feelings, where Muslims who are fasting, who are used to 3 square meals daily, are made by divine injunctions to feel for those who could not afford 3 square meals. So with this, many Muslims will tend to think of the less privileged ones in their communities and extend these kind gestures to them by making sure you feed those who are fasting, because that in itself has reward from God. The Prophet of Islam says, if you feed a fasting person, you will have your own reward and the reward of that fasting person. So if I feed a fasting Muslim, I will have double reward. So this tends to make most Muslims to buy more food items at this moment, and then to ensure that the social interaction is enhanced at this moment.
All right, and of course, talking about buying more, that means rising purchasing power.
Yes, which could also have its effect on the inflationary trends in the economy, because when prices are high, the inflation will be stimulated, and it will have its own effect, except if government has to come in to regulate the prices. This is what you can. But in Nigeria, where we don't have such a mechanism in place for government coming in, where you have other regulated economies, you have government coming in to actually ensure that prices do not rise more than necessary beyond the reach of the average citizen.
Now, even in the banks, I suppose there will be quite a number of withdrawals.
Sure.
A lot of withdrawals.
Yeah. You see, what we have to look at it in this way is this. When people withdraw, they use this money, they spend it to who? To producers of goods and services too, who themselves too will record high sales. And the economy itself will be better for it. Because when people withdraw to purchase, it has its own positive effect on the economy. Like the woman who just mentioned that she made sales more than she had been expected. Such a woman will be forced to do what? To replenish her stock. And then she's in business, she's happy, and she's giving glory to God for making that possible for her.
All right. Is there any impact really on the stock market too?
Yeah, you see, in some economies, why we cannot say specifically in Nigeria is because of the paucity of official statistics to measure this. When you don't have official statistics available to measure this, you've discovered that it becomes difficult to quantify what the economy, what Ramadan has had, the effect has had on the economy. In other economies, it has been suggested that there's what they call the Ramadan effect. The Ramadan effect is explained by the change in the investor's psychology. People in Ramadan, they tend to feel that they tend to be more optimistic. They tend to have optimistic beliefs that the situation will be better, and that will make them to invest more. And you have had results, studies which have said that some stock markets, some stocks have returned 9 times higher returns in Ramadan period than in other period, because people tend to feel, well, it will be better. The optimistic beliefs that because people now have time to face God, they tend to have internal reflection that, well, it could be better. We've had this in some economies, but because in Nigeria, we don't tend to have official statistics to actually decide whether this is the case for the Nigerian economy.
Do you think that there should be, well, you're talking about official statistics to measure, well, perhaps what Ramadan has contributed in the capital market?
Yeah.
And what about the sales? Should there be a mechanism, or is there a mechanism, used in capturing the amount of sales also made, the amount of purchases, kind of?
You see, the Nigerian economy is, if you look at the informal sector tends to have a lot of economic activities going on, and it is not being captured. It is only the formal sector that we only focus more in Nigeria. But if you go to the informal sector, a lot of trading economic activities are going there that we've not so much developed to that level to capture all these activities in the GDP, say for instance. And if you go there, you find out that in fact the informal sector in Nigeria has tended to be more buoyant than the formal sector. But by the time we develop to that level, I think we'll be able to capture all these things. And this is where a lot of trading activities are going on. Take, for instance, the issue of banks. Only 30% of Nigerians are currently banked, served by the conventional banks. More Nigerians are not being served by the banks. So how do you capture all these things? So I think with time, when we tend to develop the economy and we have more people in the ICT taking this into cognizance, I think it will be better for our economy to capture all these other areas.
Yeah, you did mention that the food and beverage sector benefits more during Ramadan, and I want to believe in every other festive season.
Yeah.
Which other sector also benefits from Ramadan aside from the food and beverages sector?
If you look at the entertainment, particularly entertainments that take place after iftar, take for instance, Muslims tend to view TV at this moment. At this period, Ramadan festive month, Muslim tends to view the television, and a lot of advertisements are going on because more Muslims stay awake in the night. Some stations open as far back as 1 a.m. and you see Muslims engaging in Quranic quiz competitions, winning prizes, and a lot of activities are going on, particularly in the entertainment industry. Television, radio is 24/7, and this in itself is quite commendable. Then when you also look at the areas of gifts consumables. People tend to buy more goods at this moment. And you have those retailers engaging in this aspect of economy. They tend to make more sales in Ramadan because I am told in my religion that I should extend hands of fellowship to my neighbors, to my community men, particularly when the Ramadan is going to an end. There's what we call Zakatul Fitr, where food items, as we know, also gift items. I know how many gifts I have received since Ramadan started, and ditto for many other people too. So we experience high sales at this moment, apart from the food items.
Okay, now those are for the sales and all that. Let's look at the workplace.
Okay.
Talking about efficiency and productivity. Now, during Ramadan, Muslims, of course, fast. And we know, so don't you think this also affects productivity
you see,
at the workplace?
In some economies, it will definitely affect. But this is not what Ramadan says. Muslims, you don't have to be lazy because you are in Ramadan. You understand? What you have only missed is your lunch. So what you have only missed is your lunch. It doesn't say you should. Islam does not encourage indolence or laziness at work, because you are being paid for that work. You must give your employer the best service you can. So, but in Ramadan, maybe in the private sector, they will recognize the fact. In fact, the MD too is not on seat. People tend to feel well, but ordinarily, that should not be the case. Ramadan does not encourage indolence, that because you are fasting, you should. But we've seen it in some Muslim countries, whereby people tend to either they close early or they do not even open shops. But some of them, rather than open up their shops in daytime, they delay it till after iftar. Many of the Arab countries, they delayed opening their shops after iftar, after the breaking of the fast. Let's say after 7 p.m. Nigerian time. They tend to open up and they try to make up for the lost grounds in the daytime.